We have a need to search out our Hebraic roots to discover what truth has been altered. This intensive study, still in progress since 2007, has gathered scattered and hidden pearls of knowledge that prove to be truth and put them together in these series of teachings. Not everything that a particular ministry teaches is wrong, but on the other hand, neither is everything taught by man entirely correct, including my teachings. Only one, and that is Yeshua, was truth incarnate. His original words were entirely correct always. Not everybody has all the truth, but we are allowed to study, discern, and glean the truth from those around us. Part 10. We will now briefly examine the proof of our claims. What we know at this stage has been added to the scriptures. Section O. It's a renewed covenant, not a New Testament. And here's why. They call it the New Testament for a reason, and it's not a good reason, because it should be called a renewed covenant, not a New Testament. In Jeremiah 31 to 34, in the King James Version Modified, it says there, "Behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that I will make a renewed Chodesh, Hebrew covenant, writ, with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they broke, although I was an husband unto them, says Yahweh. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, says Yahweh. I will put my Torah in inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbour and every man his brother, saying, Know Yahweh. For they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, says Yahweh. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more." Both Aramaic, Kadada, and Hebrew, Hadashah, mean to renew, make anew, or to repair. Notice how Hadash has been translated in 1 Samuel 11:14, 1 Chronicles 15:8, 2 Chronicles 24:4, 12, Job 10:17, Psalm 51:10, 103:5, 104:30, Isaiah 61:4, and Galatians 5:21. You, Hadash, renew your witnesses against me and increase your indignation upon me. Changes and war are against me. That's in Job 10:17. Create in me a clean heart, O Elohim. Hadash, renew a right spirit within me. Psalm 51:10. Who satisfies your mouth with good things, so that your youth is Hadash, renewed like the eagles. Psalm 103, verse 4. Turn thou us unto you, O Yahweh, and we shall be turned. Hadash, renew our days as of old. Lamentations 5:21. So here we see the use of the Hebrew word Hadash, renewed, as it should be translated. It is impossible in the context of these verses for Hadash to mean new. Isaiah 61:4 also uses Hadash to refer to those in Mashiach who Hadash repair the waste cities, the desolations of many generations. The word Hadash is so instrumental to replacement theology that the James Strong's Concordance, a popular Christian resource, chose to give this term two reference numbers, renew 2318 and new 2319. Theologians have long used this term to steer the church away from the Torah, because what they're trying to say is the New Testament is new. It's not a renewed, but a new. And so they use this then to turn people away from the Old Testament, the Torah. As mentioned previously, Marcion, a post-apostolic church founder who was actually considered a heretic by the early church, coined the terms Old Testament and New Testament, suggesting in effect that the new replaced the old. Polycarp referred to him as the firstborn of the devil, yet his false anti-Torah theology is still being honoured by nearly every Christian on earth. Yahweh did not torture and kill his own son to establish the renewed covenant. It was man's religious justice system that put the perfection of Yeshua Mashiach on the torture stake. If sin is condemned by means of the commandment, how much more is it condemned by being responsible for putting to death Yahweh's own likeness? Man's sin put Mashiach on the torture stake. Therefore the renewed covenant upholds the word of Yahweh, the Torah, which defines sin and love, and walk in love as the Mashiach also has loved us and has given up himself for us, an offering and a sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet aroma. Ephesians 5:2. The term and definition of New Testament is anti-Mashiach. It was coined by a Christo-pagan named Marcion, who viewed Yeshua as akin to one of the Greek gods of his own culture. Marcion taught that the God of the Jews was an evil God of wrath, judgment and terror, but that Jesus was a kind and loving God. Marcion coined the terms Old and New Testament to demarcate Yahweh and Yeshua as two separate gods who were at war with each other. Hence the dualism in Christian churches that use the term Old and New Testament to uphold replacement and dispensational theology. The consequences of the fatal anti-Torah and anti-Mashiach deception is very far-reaching, so much so in fact that permissiveness of covenant breaking is commonplace throughout Christendom. So there's definitely not a good reason why they changed renewed into new, trying to say, well, we now have a new covenant, we don't have to obey the Torah, we don't have to obey Yahweh's instructions, his own personal instructions to his people. The renewed covenant was foretold when Adam and Eve broke covenant with Yahweh. Yahweh forgave their sin and promised the ultimate redemption which he himself provided through the seed of the woman, Genesis 3:15. Just as Adam and Eve are the father and mother of all living souls, so is the renewed covenant offered to all inhabitants of the earth through Mashiach Yeshua. A very clear fulfillment of Isaiah 56:1-9 is seen in Mashiach's followers when Gentile converts observe Shabbat and permit the Ruach HaKodesh to write Torah upon their hearts as one body of believers along with Jews. And there's a reference there to study further. www.therefinersfire.org/renewedcovenant.htm. Thank you. Yahweh bless you and keep you. Yahweh make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Yahweh lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.